Hey guys, welcome in. I just want to have a brief discussion with everybody tonight with regards to what happened in today's proceedings in Toronto. Today, as many of you might know, and many of you don't know, the Crown produced their reasonings to take our case back to trial again, and on a request of federal penitentiary time for our charges. Now, before we deep dive into this, I want this little image here to I want it to resonate with the audience because there's some serious, and I mean serious, precedents about to be set here in Canada. And I'm going to give you my brief synopsis of how it breaks down and what is going on and why they are doing this. I know I haven't been on for a while. I know I've stayed off social medias for quite some time because in my mind, I'm losing hope and I don't want to spread that to the people, to the message to anybody. And once again, I'll give you a breakdown as to why that happened because of this exact scenario that we were leading up to today. The hope that I'm losing is the hope that Canada was once this brave institution that people revered and respected, and they felt that, this was the best place that you could call home. But when you look in this picture, you see a Crown who wants 5 years. They want 5 years for a role I played. Okay, just a position I played in my daily right to, defend my rights here in Canada. There was no violence. There was no weapons. In fact, I didn't even get a weapons prohibition, and that was brought up today. Due to all of this, there was no hate brought in. There was a dislike for the mandates. Now, if you want to claim that as hate speech, well, you're playing right back into the role of the Liberal government, and that's what we're seeing. And I'm going to touch base on that. All we were arguing was the right to be free and make our own decisions under our own body autonomy, and that was it. The government doesn't want to listen to the people. Well, the government's job is to listen to the people, and they didn't listen to us. So we forced the protest on longer. And you read at the bottom, it says, today it's Pat. Tomorrow it could be any of us. Well, guys, this is my fear. And my fear in all of this is going to be many of us in the near future. And what they're doing is they're setting it up very strategic. And if you guys wouldn't mind, please share this out. And let's have a good discussion on this exact scenario. And I'm gonna be blunt, I'm gonna be straight up, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it because that's not my style. But I can tell you the direction that this country is going into when people such as myself, whether you like me or hate me, it's moot. That point is moot. The fact of the matter is, laws according to the criminal code were broken, sentencing was sentenced, charges were charged, charges were dropped, guilty verdicts on several of the findings were found. The facts are the facts are the facts, which we went through. What happened today, and this is where I feel like all hope is gone in Canada, and this is my own opinion and my own perspective of what happened. And the fact of the matter is this: the Crown is attempting to retry a case of intimidation that I was found not guilty of, and not guilty of in significant respects. The Crown is not contesting the most heinous of all of them, which was the counseling of intimidation, of which I was found not guilty of. And the Crown is not appealing on the intimidating of law enforcement, of which are the two most severe out of all of them. The Crown is not going after those charges because they know that those charges were acquitted, and those charges with fact proved that there was nothing of the sort. But what the Crown's trying to do now, in fact, manipulate what the judge had said. And this is, in fact, in my mind, I would call this the most cherry-picked witch hunt and case of malicious prosecution I have ever ever witnessed or have been a party of or have seen in my whole entire life. And guys, I've been to courts. You know, I'm guilty of some things when I was a young offender, and I seen the court proceedings work in courts many times. Been to many levels of court, and what I am seeing here today is the absolute disregard of your Canadian fundamental rights to double jeopardy. What you are seeing is the Crown manipulating the law, manipulating the case, and manipulating what is said to be error in law, and cherry picking specific instances of which my lawyer attested to, that the Crown is attempting to draw you a picture that didn't occur. You know, kind of like the mischief that didn't occur that we were charged with. As well as they're misconstruing the rights of Canadians to peacefully protest, of which we did, and it was stated that we did. In fact, I was accredited again in my trial of being a deciding factor of how the events had went on, and they were nonviolent and no damage to property. And in fact, I was credited to being the person that, you know, held that forward in significant respects on my live feeds. The Crown is stating that we blocked highways when there is zero evidence and no evidence brought up in my trial that I was even in a vehicle, because I didn't drive. As everybody knows, I did not drive down there. I did not have a vehicle. And in fact, in my trial, it was found that I did not have a vehicle. And that's the fact. But now the Crown's trying to say I did block highways. I did physically block highways. And we state there's not one witness, there's not one police officer, there's not one any type of law enforcement, any judicial proceedings whatsoever where Mr. King proved or shown beyond a reasonable doubt that he blocked traffic. The Crown brings up at the end, but the slow roll, Your Honor, the slow roll around the airport, key point, the words you used, slow roll. And evidence was given into that fact and was proven in court that that obstructing of roadways did not occur. And in fact, there was lots of room to get around. There was room to go down one lane. Everything in the videos is recorded. The judge went through it all. But you see, what the Crown is stating is that this did occur and that the judge lied and the judge was wrong and the judge erred. When you get into an appeal court situation, appeal courts don't care about your perception. They don't give a shit about your opinion. And they don't give a shit about anything else, any extenuating circumstance other than the facts of the case. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I witnessed two judges today, in fact, bring up evidence that was not even appropriate for this case. And on the basis that I believe, and this is my hypothesis, is that they've known about this and they've been chomping at the bit to get this in, to get this on. Because, ladies and gentlemen, what this is about to set into precedence, and I hope that you guys understand where I'm going with this. When I show you this, when I show you this picture, tomorrow, it's going to be you. And here is why. The Crown stated openly that penitentiary time is needed for any protest of which impedes the rights of anyone in the vicinity. In other words, bringing discomfort to the people in the areas. And if that continues to happen in protests, there needs to be a severe penalty of 2 years plus a day penitentiary time. And what they're doing is they're using my case as a stepping stone to initiate that. Now, here's where we go. We're up in front of 3 judges. And I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the chats, and I'm not looking at chats for the reason I will get to you guys over there in 2 seconds. Just want to stay on track with what I'm talking about here now. What you have, and if there's anybody here who doesn't like me, who is on the left leaning and you feel like Canada is beautiful and it's perfect. I want this to resonate with you. To the left that believe in all your rainbow rights and all of your things that you want, and to all of this free communism and socialism rights that you are firmly, cemented in. Listen up very closely. The Crown openly stated that this isn't a left and a right issue. This is a protesting issue, period. And that anybody, and that was a key factor, anybody who protests and impedes, and I don't know about you guys, but a protest is meant to be uncomfortable. It is meant to disrupt. It's a protest, as long as you stay within the confines of the law. Well, now they're bending the law, and they want the law to read that anybody arrested for impeding in a protest can be sentenced to 2 years plus a day. And they want my case to set a precedence for the future. Now, for those out there who aren't understanding, what they're doing is there's going to be 3 judges. All 3 judges vote unanimous to retry the intimidation case and to retry the sentencing case. The Crown openly requested that sentencing be held at the appeal level, and a verdict and a sentencing be read out today. And the judge looked at them and went, well, we're not ready for that. And then she said, well, we want to go back to retrial again. What you're getting, ladies and gentlemen, is they're forcing me to take this to the Supreme Court. And in the Supreme Court, which is loaded with 7 of Justin Trudeau's close confidants, liberal judges on the Supreme Court board, because what this will do will set in stone and cement in Canadian law that any protester will be given 2 years plus a day federal penitentiary time. And the Supreme Court ruled on it and found that this is the law, and it bypasses Parliament and gets put into law. And this is what they're doing. They're backdooring it. Now I'll look back over at the chats here, but guys, I understand. We know that the rule of law is the rule of law is the rule of law. Understandable. We can all understand that, eye for an eye. But at this point right now, you have a manipulating immigrant that smoked 16 students in Humboldt, who violated his immigration status, who escaped, who went to jail for 8 years, who's supposed to be deported for killing 16 hockey players. And he just appealed so that he can stay, even though the court's already ruled. This is another example of how far this judicial system is gone. And I can give you millions, well, maybe not millions, but thousands of cases where these people are getting preferential treatment while people such as ourselves are being maliciously prosecuted, sought out to be made examples of, and having the rules of law manipulated in favor in order to set in stone a law that bypasses Parliament. It plays right into Bill C9. And the judge today stated the exact same point as Justice Hacklin did in my trial, and stated, you need to be very careful of what you are asking here, because you are teetering on the precipice of the extreme violations of freedoms of rights in Canada. And if that is where you want to go with this. And I remember Justice Hacklin looking at Karimji and saying the exact same thing. And Karimji looking at him saying, you're right, Your Honor, that's exactly what we want. And the judge went, not in my court, man. I remember it like it was yesterday. When I try to bring information to people It's not information that I just armchair quarterbacked off the internet and I found a piece of information and I'm just, regurgitating what other people are saying. I bring you the facts, I bring you the truth, I bring you with receipts, the evidence, the same with the Dina Hinshaw case, the same with the Ingram case, the same with all of the COVID bullshit. What you are seeing is a direct target for somebody who challenged the crown. What if you guys wanted to do it? What if one of yous wanted to decide if you wanted to challenge it? What if someone on the left wanted to challenge this? And all of a sudden, you get into court because you're arrested, and in court they say king versus king, case law, minimum sentence 2 years plus a day for standing on the street protesting, I don't like chicken wings. How do you feel about that? How do everyday Canadian citizens feel about this? Because really, in the grand scheme of things, to the ones that are coming here illegally and taking away everything from Canadians, to the ones that are violating our social economic systems and abusing our structure, that's going to eventually run out on you. Those employers are going to eventually fire you. And when you get pissed off and you want to protest, guess what? You're going to jail for 2 years plus a day. So pay attention. And I'm looking directly at you. When you decide you're going to stand up and protest for your rights, because your rights should be validated in Canada, then this is a moment in Canadian history where you need to stop and back exactly what it is we're doing here. And everybody across Canada, you need to get behind this stuff. You need to stop and drop everything you're doing. I'm not saying drop everything what you're doing right now and whatnot, but you need to get behind cases like these, my case especially, because whether, like I said, whether you like me or not, and I know there's many that don't, and that's fine, and I get it, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm fine with that. But what I am bringing to you is the fact that I'm a living experience of what is going on in Canada, and it could be you. Whether we're in groups across Canada that are planning our own things or doing our own things and don't trust anybody else, listen to me. Whether you want to work with this guy or work with that guy, or you don't trust this guy, or you don't trust that guy, it don't fucking matter anymore. Part of my language. I'm going to apologize for the speech. What matters now is you're going to be me. Everybody in Canada who does not agree and feels they want to protest will be me in no time at all. And if that doesn't scare the living shit out of people, and that doesn't light a fire under people's asses to realize, hey, you know what? I don't friggin' like Pat, but what they're doing to him is absolute bullshit. And you know what? It's going to affect me as well. And I don't like, the right. I don't care about the right. They're standing for things I don't believe in. But you know what's happening to him is bullshit. That's going to happen to us if we stand up and we say we want drag time stories in our schools. Do you understand that it's not a left or a right problem here? It's an us problem now. And not having the support from the majority of the country. Not knowing that the majority of the country doesn't even have a clue of what is really happening around them. Scares the ever-living bejesus out of me. Because the average citizen going by day to day who has no idea of these things that are happening in Canada are going to be absolutely blindsided. And that's where my compassion comes from. My compassion comes for not those that know, but for those that don't know and are going to be absolutely lost and suicidal when they really realize the impacts that are happening around them in these little, don't get any media notoriety for this one. We want this one to slip under the rug while we distract you with Iran, while we distract you with, everything else. No Epstein files, they distract you with Donald Trump getting assassinated. Yeah. There's little cases like mine that are making and going to make big impacts in our everyday life. It's been a friggin' stressful day today to watch my lawyer fumble the ball today too, and no downfall to Brian. He was intimidated in the whole proceeding, and I understand that. But to watch somebody fumble in front of you when your life is on the line or your freedoms are on the line. I tried to speak up in the court and I tried to say something to the judge that I needed to get across to my lawyer, but I'm isolated in these court proceedings where they muted me immediately. When I tried to speak up for my own freedom, I was not allowed to because I had a representative. And from this point on, and Sophie and I had a talk today, and I said to her, babe, I don't have faith in these lawyers. I am forced now. I'm forced to self-represent every case I'm in now. I do not trust a single lawyer, and not for the aspect that they're all bought and paid for, but I don't trust the competency of these lawyers. I feel that no matter what you do in a court of law over the last 5 years, the Crown has some way or some means to manipulate the law in its favor. When the job of the Crown attorney in the Crown's office is to uphold the law, uphold the charter. And yet you're being violated in charter violations and Bill of Rights violations left and right in Canada. And we're told we're just supposed to sit back and take it. No, we don't. And no, you don't. You don't have to sit back and take this. You have every right to represent yourself. You have every right to every book, textbook. You have every right to any knowledge that will help and assist you with the case. And in fact, the judge has to guide you in the right direction and make available to you all amenities that lawyers have. And now I have no choice. From now on, it's self-representation all the way. And I'm going to start using the color of law, and I'm going to start using the law of the free man on the land, and I'm going to start using the law the way it was intended to be used, to protect citizens, from these guys. Hey guys, some of us have tried to help you and you ignore. So what are we to do? I want to help, but not send money. Well, are you schooled in self-representation? Because we need to start doing huge self-representation classes so that everybody can stand in front of a judge and be a lawyer. But at this time, you guys all need to understand and watch and learn and see what is happening and pay attention. Pay attention to these cases. I stress to you, if anything I ever tried to ask or counsel you guys in doing, you see what I did there? Pay attention to these court cases. Show up. Do your notes. Because these sons of bitches are moving the ball straight up the field while they're distracting you on both sides. And I'm screaming it from the hilltops, and I feel like it's falling upon deaf ears. And there's two levels of situation in this. What does one do? Does one fight? Or does one run? And you guys all know my feelings on that. But I'll tell you, after what I'm witnessing, I don't feel Canada in its judicial system in its present state likes Canadians. And I'm straight up going to say that. I am straight up going to openly state to everybody on the internet that the Canadian judicial system does not like Canadians. And you can get that, take that right to the bank. Canadian people who stand for Canadian values, who stand for Canadian rights and freedoms, are despised in the courtroom. But any other illegal immigrant who has unalived people, raped people, caused severe harm onto families driving down the wrong way on the 401 highway after robbing a liquor store can have their charges reduced and thrown out because, you know, it might hinder their citizenship. How about this one? And here's another case. 5 Palestinian protesters in Ottawa. Same exact charges, same exact scenario, even more evidence to prove their guilt. Had all their charges dropped, and they were charged with the exact same charges I was. But me, I'm going through appeals court. Now I'm going to get retried again. Now I'm going to get served 5 years. I know, I was using free man of the land under common law. But this is one of the things, guys, and I don't know how to stress this more to you guys without losing my absolute mind and snapping and going off and throwing shit around and, you know, making a scene, but I don't know anymore. You will enjoy the works of the Canadian Bill of Rights. I know, Byron. Well, Byron, you're going to be my new legal team. You know that, right? Byron, this is what God put you on this earth for. You and me, buddy. We're going to take these. You're going to take this all the way down because we're going to be going up in front of the Supreme Court, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what they want. They want this in the Supreme Court because this solidifies Bill C9. This will solidify the online hate speech, the online bills, the religious bills. This will cement everything into place. And I really, really, really need to stress to everybody out there, like seriously, folks, this is no joke. Today it's me. Tomorrow it can be any one of you. Anybody. Not only that, they're using it as a rule of law in strike implications. When people are striking and they disrupt traffic at a strike, you're going to get arrested and charged and possible 2 years plus a day in prison for striking. And it's all in the judge's interpretation, all in the Crown's interpretation of the law. This place is scary, ladies and gentlemen. It is absolutely backwards. And our justice system is not out for justice. I don't even know what it's doing. But our justice system is not out for Canadians, and this is 100% proof. Canadians, when they protested back in the day, were respected. And it was like an honor that you stood up and you protested for your country and you did your part. And you made your voice heard. And now, because it was strictly Canadians that were there, you know, maybe not all of us, but you know what I mean, non-papered Canadians, actual Canadians that were born here, that were protesting, a large majority of that. And you know what they're doing is I'm your poster child to say what they think about you, what they think about every average Canadian out there. I'm the poster child. Do what Pat did, and we're going to do this to you. And that's what they want. And they're getting it. And they're getting it off of my case. And I'm apologizing to everybody out there. But you need to get behind this. You need to support this. And you need to set, like, a fire needs to be lit under your asses to rise up and do what is right. And stand up for your rights when this comes. Because summer is approaching, I may try and put together a giant fundraiser this summer, maybe another rodeo, to have everybody in enjoying a weekend and talking amongst ourselves. And I think serious discussions need to be had here in Canada between all of us. To all the other factions out there, to all the other groups out there, to everybody out there who's trying to do your part, whether you like it or not, whether you like me or not, whether I like you or not, it doesn't matter. You need to start talking to each other and amongst each other. I'm just seeing what's going on. Thanks, Jeremy. Roseanne, seems like it's out of control. Absolutely, it's out of control. This whole system is out of control. Right? Like, here you go.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you're here? Gladiator games are on right now. You're watching the hockey games. You're watching the finals. I'm guilty. I'm watching them too. But the Gladiator games have arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Don't pay attention to what's going on in Canada. Don't go. There wasn't one person. I think there was one person in the courtroom today. And that's fine. I'm not expecting. But you would think that the impact of this case and the severity of this case and the precedent setting that this case is, you would think all the media would have been all over this. Nope. The media is not on it at all. Crickets, because they don't want the general public to understand one of the leaders is being brought back to court again. They don't want this in the public eye. Well, we need to put this in the public eye. This needs to be put into the public eye. Everybody, this should be a staple conversation around Canada right now, around your dinner tables right now, about the ongoing overreach and sheer maliciousness of the federal government and what it is doing straight up to people who peacefully protest. And in fact, for all the naysayers out there, it was brought up once again today, Justice McLean did say and state in court on the record that it was a lawful and peaceful protest for any naysayers out there. And that's something that I feel that our lawyer missed the ball on today too, is he failed to bring up that Justice McLean had already reached the verdict and that Justice Mosley had already ruled, along with the next judge that had already ruled twice, that the Emergencies Act was deemed unjustified. So why media? Well, we know why, but why even are your independent journalists not vocalizing this? Mario Zelaya, all your conservative rah bandwagon, conservative flying flag wavers should be, speaking about this. But why? Why won't you speak? Because the Conservative Party doesn't want you to bring this up, right? Conservative Party doesn't want to bring this up. NDP Party doesn't want to bring it up. Liberal Party definitely doesn't want to bring it up. So when the politicians don't want to bring up serious incidents that are affecting Canadian citizens on the daily, that leads you to question, what is our government really doing for us? They're not informing you. Canada Liberty, like Ireland, is that what you're saying? You need an Ireland one? Scotty put it on the daily. Yeah, absolutely. I saw something that was messaged to me, a comment on one of my posts. It's like, brother, you changed the frequency of the world with the Freedom Convoy. And you're absolutely right. We did change the frequency for a flicker in time. We changed the frequency around the world for the positive. And it's put the fear of God into these elites and these officials and to these government officials. And you guys were all witness of it. You all bear witness to the amazing change that had, enveloped the world on a global level, to countries all over on support, getting behind us and doing convoys. And, Don't underplay that. The reason why they're hiding and sticking to keeping me in these court systems and trying everything they can to impact and hinder our ability to exercise our rights is because they're scared of that frequency that we put out there. And if you don't believe me, if you weren't there, trust in people who are there who know. We were on the precipice of changing the world, and it scared the absolute bejesus out of them. It seems like bejesus is my favorite catchphrase tonight. But we did, and you did. And our love and our patriotism and our support for one another and our compassion and everything that we had in those days was on the cusp of really changing the world, and they did not like that. So what did they do? They blocked it, they hindered it, they booted it, they discredited it, they did everything they can. That's what the devil will do. And the devil gets its dues, right? Well, I'm paying those dues. But I don't need to pay it alone. And we all need to stand up and speak out and say enough is enough. And when are Canadians going to just shut it down? Just shut it off. You imagine for 1 week, Canada just put the brakes on everything. Nobody shows up. Not one person. Let's even go a quarter of the population. Let's go 10 million people. 10 million people, a quarter of the population shuts this country down. Whoa. You watch these guys put the friggin' brakes on. I know you haven't, Scott. We all have, buddy. But we need to start getting our circles smaller. We need to start being, all about one another. And I'm guilty of it myself, right? Like I'm absolutely guilty of it. But we all need to work with each other. And we all need to step up. And to those out there who know I won't work with you, ask yourself why. Because you lied. You lied, and I proved it to you. And that's why I won't work with you. The game that we are playing right now, there is no room for bullshit. And to the ones that are out there thinking they're the ones doing things and they're doing this and doing that, ask yourself why I called you out on your lies and your bullshit, and why I'm not supporting the shit that you've done. At the same time, I still encourage everybody to do what they got to do. But I will not work with people who I have caught handedly in my face, blatantly lied about very serious information. So for all those out there who are wondering, I have proof of evidence that emails were falsified, documents were falsified, and to my face was told that's what they do. They make these documents and they do this and this. Shut up and let me do what I do. Well, I will not stand for that, and I will not work with you with that. You know who you are. I ain't calling out any names. To the other two that were right in the pocket of the Conservative Party and pushing all of this nonsense, to the other two, you know what you're doing. And that in itself, I will not work with. And you know what you've done, and you know how you did it. We all do, the ones that count. But to the rest of you out there, I have no problems collaborating. I have no problems brainstorming. I have no problems working to come to some kind of solution. In the meantime, you guys all need to keep your sticks up and start high sticking in the face. Fuck this stick on the ice bullshit. Start high sticking. Start cross checking. Start spearing. Because man, oh man, if we don't, gas prices, I just seen that one. Who put that? Diesel fuel over $2.15 in BC. Yeah, it's over $2 here in Quebec. Now hear this. The same price of oil in 2015, gas prices were not this high. You're being gouged. You're being bent over the pumps, and you're getting it. Anyway, that is, my live for tonight. I wanted to bring the attention to you guys and let you know, to the left and to everybody out there who doesn't agree, understand the importance that this plays in factor into your daily life too. To the left-leaning activists, this is going to cause a real bad shitstorm for you. A really bad one. And unfortunately, here in Canada, nobody has a backbone or a spine to stand up anymore. And then you all ask us to get up and help you guys. Where's the convoy when this is going on, when Trump's doing this? And you ask us, because you disintegrated us. You're allowing the courts to railroad us and send us up the river. You're allowing this to happen because of your sheer distaste for a person or for a belief. If this was on the other side, I'd be sitting there supporting the same thing, and I'd be talking to the people on the right and saying, look, we may not agree, but what's happening to them is bullshit. Now, there's a place where we draw the line. And we say, you know what? I don't agree with what you're saying or what you're doing or what you're protesting, but what they're doing to you is bullshit. And at some point, ladies and gentlemen, we have to come to grips with that. And we have to start defending that and standing in your convictions. I just wanted to bring it up, ladies and gentlemen, for you guys to understand the severity of the case. We're sitting right now waiting on a decision. They deferred the verdict this afternoon. It could take a couple of days. It could take months. It could take upwards of a year. I don't know. But what I do know is this. It's a scary time to be Canadian. And I'm not saying scary as in a harmful, kind of attack to a Canadian. It's a sad day to be a Canadian because this is what we've allowed our institutions that we were so revered for around the world. And this is what we've let it go to. The impact of that should scream to you guys. That's it for me. I wanted to bring that up. I appreciate you guys coming in. Share this far and wide if you don't mind, please. And I appreciate everybody out there and your love and your support. And hello, Dee Dee, I saw your name in the participants thing. Happy to see you're in there watching today's fiasco. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time that you start paying attention. Great convoy. So proud for people that stood up and shone. Thanks, Luann. When you understand the opponent truly is Ephesians 6:12. Yes, you're so right. Benita Prasad, 11 million were brought in for election purposes. Gil, this has nothing to do with the funds that are being held. The funds that are being held are held in escrow with the Paul Champ case. And this is another abusive process here. A case that has money that is frozen, that they didn't even obtain a warrant to seize the money. Oh, buddy, this whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely twisted. You think Keeping Up with the Kardashians is a show? You need to put this on as a reality friggin' show. The day in the life of Pat King and his court proceedings. Put that in an episode of an ongoing reality TV show and watch the rest of the world wake the frig up real fast. Take care, ladies and gentlemen, and we will talk to you very soon. Appreciate it. If you guys care to help, there's the Give, Send, Go down there. There's the Pat King Appeal Fund at gmail.com. 2 ways of donating to help with legal fees. We're in a fight for our lives now, and all hands on deck. Straight up. See you guys.
Even a blind man can see what we are all seeing, and yet you're trying to gaslight us into pretending like it's just all regular and that we are the bad guys. That is the truth. The truth does hurt, and people want to know who killed Charlie Kirk.
It's like a radiant beacon on a hill, drawing you close and holds you still. Carried by gentle warriors, clothed in God's will. Shadows try to hide the beams, but it shines bright for all who see. Truth can't be put out, silence trampled by violence. It's a roaring flame, proclaims can't be restrained. Won't bend a knee, sets the captives free. Right here alive, yeah, you and me. Day, dreaming their dreams, walk in their faith. Fearless to sharing Jesus' ways, paving the way. Sacrifice is not forgotten, but your light spreads love, still living. Truth can't be put out, silence trampled by violence. It's a roaring flame, proclaims can't be restrained. Won't bend a knee, sets the captives free. Right here alive, yeah, you and me. Cannot be denied. Yes, the truth, the way, the life, risen, cannot be denied. Truth can't be put out.